the most important teacher of the meaning of your life is your suffering. It's the most important. And one of the greatest ways for you to miss the meaning of your life is for you to try to avoid your suffering.
Give me an example.
So nobody ever said, I really figured out what I was made of that week at the beach in Ibiza. No, they talked about when my mom died, when I almost lost my business, when I flunked out of college, when I got really sick, when I was truly scared, and I made my way through it. When I understood, when I went through, that suffering was my teacher about who I am as a person and the meaning of my life. What you find is that in large groups of people, you find that when you ask them to talk about the meaning of their life, they always talk about their terrible times. They always talk about their suffering. Always. That's the way it is. And if we have a culture that tries to get rid of pain, you have a culture that gets rid of meaning.
You don't take things too seriously in this lifetime. At least when I look at my worries, I had for sure 80%, 90% of all the worries just didn't happen in the first place. 10% might somehow came true, but then again I asked myself, good. So the 10% that came true, even though I had the worries, what could I do about it? Coming to the conclusion, nothing. Nothing. Let go of this idea that everything that you're gonna encounter in this lifetime is gonna be beautiful. Everything in this lifetime is gonna be peaceful. Everybody you're gonna meet along your journey is gonna be well-hearted towards you. No, it's not. Because in the moment where you have well-hearted people, you have ill-willed people. And in the moment where there is success, where you want to be part of the success story, you're gonna be part of the failing story. And in the moment where you want to be part of the light story, you're going to be part of the dark story. This is how it is. Look at yourself and ask yourself, what is the most disturbing, whatever it is, from the last week in your life? What is disturbing you about your life the most from the last week? What is it? Which emotional state is it that followed you primarily in the last 1 month? Is it somebody who triggers it? Is it something that triggers it? So really boil it down to the point that you actually see, this is what blocks me right now in my life. This is literally what blocks me in my life. I want to move into the future, but this here, it follows me, it blocks me, it takes my energy. It's this one. I can literally see it. No, that is the one. Now invest all of the energy to figure out the solution for this one.
There seem to be two general forms of burnout. One is I'm exhausted in the morning and I just can't get into gear. And then it's like caffeine. And then late day, okay, finally I caught the wave front. And then I'm having trouble sleeping and then the whole thing repeats.
Wired but tired.
Wired but tired. The other form of burnout is where people it's like their cortisol is like a square wave function. It's just up in the morning and all day long. At some point, you realize you just can't keep this going. And I think most entrepreneurs feel that way. At some point, you're just like, I can't do this. The main way to think about burnout and exhaustion is to ask oneself, if I had total control, when would I naturally wake up? When would I naturally go to sleep? And then whatever your wake up time is, to really treat that first 3 to 6 hours of your day as go time. And to do the things, bright light, hydration, exercise, caffeine, etc., that really push you into the day. But then really essentially doing all the opposite things that you do in the morning in the last, ideally 4, but most people won't do that, last 2 hours of your day. Dim the lights, caffeine, forget it. You should have halted that probably 8 hours before sleep. Limit your hydration. Long exhale breathing, anything that can bring your cortisol levels down and bring your melatonin levels up.
Now think of this. Your behavior causes your results. If you want to change the results, don't look outside of yourself. Don't say it's the economy, it's the boss, it's my spouse, it's none of those things. It's something inside and it's called a paradigm. How do you change it? Well, first of all, you start out with the result you want to change. Write out exactly the negative result that you're getting. Then ask yourself, what is the polar opposite to that? And write it out in the present tense as an affirmation. What you've done is you've programmed in a new habit that's essentially the opposite to the old. The old dies for a lack of nourishment because you've kept feeding the new one. And write it out 100 times a day, present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now. You give that a whirl. If it works for that, it'll work for everything.
95% of who we are by the time we're in the middle of our life
our set of programs, how we think, how we act, and how we feel, subconscious programs. Write down 2 thoughts you do want to believe and repeat them in your mind over and over again so you can remember them. And rehearse in your mind. When you're in that flow and the universe is working for you and you're saying, I'm not doing anything, it just seems like the opportunities are coming to me. That's because you've changed the signal, right? You changed the signal in the field.
Neglect starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. And one neglect leads to another. And the worst of all, when neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-value.
If you're holding on to something that does not serve you, you are making a terrible error. It's going to cause all kinds of problems. You may blame other people or other things. You may blame the situation. It's you are the cause of the problem. The man that told me to pick up this book and read it, Ray Stanford, he had a saying. He used to say to me, Bob, you're the only problem you'll ever have, and you're the only solution. I think it might have taken me 5 years to understand that. But I do understand it. And you know something? I am the only problem I'll ever have, and I am the only solution. Don't hold on to anything that is not serving you. Reject it. You know the beautiful part about having an inductive reasoning factor? That's the part that chooses thoughts. You can accept or reject. A beautiful part of your mind, you can accept or reject anything that comes into your world. Accept or reject it. It's a choice. Don't hold on to anything that is not serving you.
If we play the victim role, then we are using our personal power to be helpless. If we decide to accept responsibility, then we don't waste time blaming somebody or something out there. Some people feel guilty for creating illness or poverty or problems. They choose to interpret responsibility as guilt. And some members of the media like to refer to it as New Age guilt. These people often feel guilty because they believe that they have failed in some way. However, they usually accept everything as a guilt trip in one way or another, because it's another way to make themselves wrong. And that is not what I'm talking about. If we can use our problems and illnesses as opportunities to think about how we can change our lives, we have power.
Most people operate out of their personal history, out of their memory, things they've done, things they've experienced, things they've seen, things that they have observed. What I'm suggesting that you operate out of a larger vision of yourself. I want you to see yourself doing what you want to do, experiencing what you want to experience, having what you want to have, doing what it is that gives your life some meaning and value. Operate out of your imagination, not your memory. Because whatever you look at where you want to go, I'm wanting to warn you, you will have some conversation back here after you go through the data that you've experienced in life saying you can't do it. And so what you want to begin to do is ignore that inner conversation.
You have some narrative in your mind that is so negative that when you look in the mirror, you see somebody worth trashing. You see what's wrong. You pick apart your appearance. And I want to reverse that, because here's the deal about self-confidence. Self-confidence begins with you. You realize the word self is in there, right? I can't give you confidence. I can give you a little boost. I can give you tools. I can encourage you, but confidence is forged in fire. It's something that's within you. And here's the thing I want you to realize about confidence. You are a confident person. That's why you miss feeling that way. You can only miss what you know. You've just been blocked from the feeling of it. And wherever you are right now in your life, I'm telling you, confidence is in there. You just got to figure out how to tap into it.
We're so familiar with ourselves, we tend to take ourselves for granted. We tend to minimize the things we can accomplish, the goals we can reach, and for some equally strange reason, believe others can accomplish things in our field which we cannot. Many people are suspicious of and oppose change. Yet change is the one thing in life on which we can absolutely count. People who stay young all the years of their lives not only welcome change, but see it for what it really is: new opportunity, new chances for further fulfillment. Attitude is a reflection, a result of a person's will. It is incalculably powerful. It can bring about marvelous results for us, but we need to train it patiently, day by day. Now let's talk about the attitudes of people who are successful. The top 5% of the people who go sailing through life from one success to another, and who, even when they fail at something, shrug it off and head right out again. No matter who the person is or what he does, men and women in sales, business executives, people in all the professions, wives and mothers, students, top people in the armed forces, public servants, men and women in the service of religion, working men and women in all fields of endeavor, wherever you find a person doing an outstanding job and getting outstanding results, you will find a person with the right kind of attitude. These people take the attitude toward themselves that they can accomplish what they set out to accomplish, that there's no good reason on earth why they can't be competent, successful. They have a healthy attitude toward themselves and, as a result, toward life and the things they want to accomplish. And because of this, they achieve some remarkable things, and they come to be called successful, outstanding, brilliant, lucky, and a lot of other things. They're quite frequently no more brilliant or outstanding than the majority of the people by whom they're surrounded. But they did develop the right attitude, and they found their accomplishments not too difficult, and many times surprisingly easy, simply because it seems that so few are really trying, really believe in themselves. Successful people expect more good out of life than bad. They expect to succeed more than they fail.
Nothing else will work for you until you recognize that you are the creator of your own life and that no one else is to blame for your circumstances. Call it karma, if you will. You may not believe in the concept, but all successful people know it to be true in some way or another. No one can change himself until he realizes that he is the one creating himself and that his self-image is not fixed in stone, but constantly changing. Why is it that one day you can feel happy and confident, and the next day feel sad and depressed? Most people will say it's because of what is happening to them that causes their fluctuations in mood. But this is giving power to the outside world, which is actually completely powerless to affect your inside world of thoughts and emotions, unless you give it full permission to do so. Owning full responsibility for one's thoughts and emotions is not a common choice in this world. It's much more comfortable to believe that something else is causing them, because it takes away the pressure of personal responsibility. Why own your experience of life when you can just sit back and blame everyone else for it? Well, you have the freedom to choose, but I strongly suggest that you choose more wisely from now on and begin to choose a path of personal growth rather than one of stagnation or decline. I challenge you to re-own your power. From this day forward, you will begin to break the chains of your own making. No longer will you wallow in sadness or self-pity. No longer will you blame someone or something else for your misfortune. You will awaken to your power of self-direction and control. You will choose better than you have in the past and make new habits of thought, feeling, and action that lead you to the life of your dream.
Strange thing about faith and fear. They both demand you believe something you can't see. Why would people choose fear over faith? Because they're ignorant. You go from ignorance to doubt and worry to fear, anxiety, suppression, depression, disease, disintegration. Go over on the other side. You go from understanding to an emotional state called faith. If you really want to win, you got to be relaxed. See, when you're relaxed, spirit energy flows freely to and through you. And that's what you want. You want to be a good channel for spirit to flow freely through you. And you can direct it whatever way you want.
If you look at the science around religious belief or belief in higher power, or the notion that humans don't have all the answers, not even the collective consciousness, what you'll find is that for everything from recovery from addiction to recovery from immense loss, almost without fail, moving through that with any kind of sense of self-preservation and not engaging in just self-destruction, which is what most people do, almost always involves some notion of top-down control from outside, being encouraged or even instructed to do the right thing, feeling as if something is coming through oneself. But when we're talking about breaking bad habits, overcoming immensely difficult scenarios that normally would throw people into complete self-destruction or just giving up, which is a bad habit in its own right. It's as if the top-down control is so immense, like the going against oneself that's required is so immense that when people hand that over to God, it seems as if they get some relief from the process, and yet it's very effective. And you can't deny this, right? Just as a phenomenon. I mean, let's take off our hats as scientists and people who kind of parse things. Like, how could it be that the thing that's hardest for humans to do for themselves becomes far easier when they stop trying to do it for themselves? Our good friend Paul Conti talks often about how much of the ills of the world are based on people's envy. When people don't have, when they have an uncomfortable feeling, most people will turn that into self-destruction or destruction of others. And people who are successful in life transmute those uncomfortable feelings into self-support and creating things and supporting others. Same feelings, divergent paths. And envy, Paul has said many times, is the enemy of all personal development, right? You see something, I always noticed, coming up in science, if something bad happens to somebody, we most of the time, unless we really dislike them, but even then, you kind of go, oh, that sucks, really feel bad. But if something good happens for somebody, you know immediately how you feel about that person. Are you happy for them? Or is there that feeling of like, fuck. Yeah, exactly.
Everything I've ever done in my life, I didn't want to do. Everything, every day. I'm a lazy piece of shit. And I'm one of the hardest working people that ever stepped foot on this planet Earth. And I'm saying that very proudly because I know what I do. It's not cocky. I'll tell you I'm stupid. And I'll also tell you the exact opposite of what I've done. It's the truth. It is the truth. So imagine how much I've developed in that time frame. But this is the scary thing. Why most people don't want to do that, build that willpower, is because it is scary. It unlocks a whole bunch of things about who you are and who you're not. And a lot of people don't want to go down that journey to discover who they are and who they're not. Because it's not a pretty journey. I mean, I've gone down it. It's not like I went down it once. I go down it all the time. And when you unlock that, and you can't just turn it off. Like people say, hey, well, how come you haven't retired yet? I built all this willpower. Do you think it's gonna let me just retire because my knees hurt? It's telling me every morning, I wake up like, man, my knees hurt, my legs hurt, my body hurts, but you can still run. So why aren't you running? If you can still run, there'll be a time when you can't lace them up anymore, but you can still run. So I still run. When the time comes I can't run, the body will say, you just can't run. But if I can still do something, that willpower that I have created, it makes me do it every fucking day. And that's what they don't get. What builds a human being is you start with the small building blocks. And before you know it, man, you become something that it doesn't even make sense to most people because it's just who you are now. That's why I can still run at 50 at 49 with broke down knees and broke down body, because my body knows you still can. Therefore, I do. Second you stop, the willpower is gone. And that's beautiful. I'm so glad you brought that to me because I always wondered, what's this separation thing now? At 24 years old, I started building something that I didn't even know was going to be what it is now at 49. And that's all it was just that. Everything was going well in my life. My career was fit, shine, and gleaming. I made a name for myself in the sports world, and I had plans to get back onto the battlefield like a Navy SEAL should. But sometimes, even when you are doing everything right in life, storms appear and multiply. Chaos can and will descend without warning, and when, not if. That happens, there won't be anything you can do to stop it. If you're fortunate, the issues or injuries are relatively minor. And when those incidents crop up, it's on you to adjust and stay after it. If you get injured or other complications arise that prevent you from working on your primary passion, refocus your energy elsewhere. The activities we pursue tend to be our strengths because it's fun to do what we're great at. Very few people enjoy working on their weaknesses. So if you're a terrific runner with a knee injury that will prevent you from running for 12 weeks, that is a great time to get into yoga, increasing your flexibility and your overall strength, which will make you a better and less injury-prone athlete. If you're a guitar player with a broken hand, sit down at the keys and use your one good hand to become a more versatile musician. The point is not to allow a setback to shatter our focus or our detours to dictate our mindset. Always be ready to adjust, recalibrate, and stay after it to become better somehow. The sole reason I work out like I do isn't to prepare for and win ultra races. I don't have an athletic motive at all. It's to prepare my mind for life itself. Life will always be the most grueling endurance sport. And when you train hard, get uncomfortable, and callous your mind, you will become a more versatile competitor, trained to find a way forward no matter what. Because there will be times when life comes at you like a sledgehammer. Sometimes life hits you dead in the fucking heart. No matter who you are, life will present you similar opportunities where you can prove to be uncommon. There are people in all walks of life who relish those moments, and when I see them, I recognize them immediately because they're usually that motherfucker who's all by himself. It's the suit who's still at the office at midnight while everyone else is at the bar, or the badass who hits the gym directly after coming off a 48-hour up. She's the wildland firefighter who, instead of hitting her bedroll, sharpens her chainsaw after working a fire for 24 hours. That mentality is there for all of us. Man, woman, straight, gay, black, white, or purple fucking polka dot. All of us can be the person who flies all day and night only to arrive home to a filthy house, and instead of blaming family or roommates, cleans it up right then because they refuse to ignore duties undone. All over the world, amazing human beings like that exist. It doesn't take wearing a uniform. It's not about all the hard schools they graduated from, all their patches and medals. It's about wanting it like there's no tomorrow, because there might not be. It's about thinking of everybody else before yourself and developing your own code of ethics that sets you apart from others. One of those ethics is the drive to turn every negative into a positive. And then when shit starts flying, being prepared to lead from the front. For several years, I gave myself a way out.
When you were 300 pounds?
When I was 300 pounds, when I was, all the way up until I was 24 years old. I would climb a mountain, I'd fall back down. I start climbing, I fall back down for the first 24 years of my life. I went to my first Hell Week, my second Hell Week, and then my third Hell Week came in SEAL training, and the CEO, Captain Bowen, looked at me. I'm on crutches, I'm all jacked up. He says, hey, this is your last time you're gonna go through buds. This is it. I had several stress fractures. I had double pneumonia, I was jacked up, and he gave me a few months to heal. He said, this is your last time going through. I shouldn't even let you go back through.
Wow.
I started Navy SEAL training with stress fractures. Stress fractures, not splints.
That's hard to finish.
Stress fractures. Starting the hardest training, arguably the hardest training in the world with stress fractures. And this is when I started to not put a cap on the body if the mind is there. Every morning I would wake up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, go to my dive cage, go in there before anybody saw me. I'd get duct tape, and I would tape from my forefoot all the way up to the mid of my calf, and I would put 2 black socks on. And so I ran not using the pivot.
Oh my gosh.
And I ran my hip flexors. So for the first 45 minutes to an hour, I was in absolute excruciating pain. But what motivated me through that whole process was the fact that this kid came from that. I'm in the hardest training in the world, in the worst shape of my entire life. What if I can graduate amongst these studs?
Wow.
All these guys around me are studs. They're stallions, they're gladiators in my class. They're all healthy, most of them. They're not broken like this. They may have some, everybody's sick going through that training. Yeah. But if I can graduate, it would change everything for me. If I can start the hardest training in the world, broken, and graduate. So my mind fed off of that. You are now, from the weakest man, you are now the hardest man to ever live. If you can do this. If you can do this. Life is one big mind game.
Yeah.
And you're playing it with yourself. Is it true? I don't care. It got me through the hardest training, starting out broken. Where most people quit, I had just started.
Wow.
And when you take that mindset and you learn to flip that around, that's what made me powerful. And my body followed. And 3 months later, my stress fractures were healed by running on them. I realized that prejudice is everywhere. There is a piece of it in every person, in each and every organization. And if you are the only in any given situation, it's on you to decide how you're going to handle it, because you can't make it go away. For years, I used it to fuel me, because there's a lot of power in being the only. It forces you to juice your own resources and to believe in yourself in the face of unfair scrutiny. It increases the degree of difficulty, which makes every success that much sweeter. That's why I continually put myself in situations where I knew I would encounter it. I fed off being the only one in a room. I brought the war to people and watched my excellence explode small minds. I didn't sit back and cry about being the only. I took action, said go yourself, and used all the prejudice I felt as dynamite to blow up those walls. But that kind of raw material will only get you so far in life. I was so confrontational, I created needless enemies along the way, and I believe that's what limited my access to the top SEAL teams. With my career at a crossroads, I didn't have time to dwell on those mistakes. I had to find higher ground and turn the negative I created into another positive. I didn't just accept land warfare duty. I was the best instructor I could possibly be. And on my own time, I created new opportunities for myself by launching my Ultra Quest, which revived my stalled career. When your mind, this is this whole 40% rule I talk about all the time, that I made up a long time ago. And I started making it up through pain.
Tell them what that is, would you go?
So basically the 40% rule is, I am a strong believer that we quit. Because why? How the 297-pound cockroach guy who quit on everything is now considered one of the baddest men on the planet? How is that possible? It means I had to change one thing, my mindset. So there's no way in hell that was in me, but that guy was in me. When that guy came down here and said, hey, guess what, man? You're a fat ass, but I'm gonna now make you a badass. I'm gonna miracle this to be a badass. No, it was in me. I had to believe and make that belief work. And through hard work, I did that. So the 40% rule is like we have like a car. Some cars have a governor on it. And when you get to like 92 miles an hour, that car start doing this because it can't go any faster. Those cars that don't have governors on, like a fast ass, whatever, Porsche, whatever, I'm gonna bury it, gone. We have that ability in us, but we have put this governor on our minds. And you have to, the factory that put the governor on that car, the factory is now you. That put that shit on your mind. You gotta take that off. Until you take it off, you're gonna constantly get to 92 miles an hour and do this. Because you ain't gonna go no faster. As a matter of fact, you might even go slower. So basically, I started realizing this through my life, through going through all these times. This challenge for the unusual motherfuckers in this world. A lot of people think that once they reach a certain level of status, respect, or success, that they've made it in life. I'm here to tell you that you always have to find more. Greatness is not something that if you meet it once, it stays with you forever. That evaporates like a flash of oil in a hot pan. If you truly want to become uncommon amongst the uncommon, it will require sustaining greatness for a long period of time. It requires staying in constant pursuit and putting out unending effort. This may sound appealing, but will require everything you have to give and then some. Believe me, This is not for everyone because it will demand singular focus and may upset the balance in your life. That's what it takes to become a true overachiever. And if you are already surrounded by people who are at the top of their game, what are you going to do differently to stand out? It's easy to stand out amongst everyday people and be a big fish in a small pond. It is a much more difficult task when you are a wolf surrounded by wolves. This means not only getting into Wharton Business School, but being ranked #1 in your class. It means not just graduating Buzz, but becoming enlisted honor man in Army Ranger School, then going out and finishing Badwater. Porch the complacency you feel gathering around you, your co-workers and teammates in that rare air. Continue to put obstacles in front of yourself, because that's where you'll find the friction that will help you grow even stronger. Before you know it, you will stand alone,